In the late summer of 1945, a gathering of guests assembled for the joyous occasion of Don Vito Corleone's daughter, Connie's wedding reception. Don Vito, the esteemed head of the Corleone Mafia family, was affectionately known to friends and associates as the Godfather. On this special day, he and his trusted family lawyer and adopted son, Tom Hagen, were listening to the numerous requests for favors from the wedding attendees. This tradition stemmed from Italian customs where no Sicilian could refuse a request on their daughter's wedding day. Among the guests was Amerigo Bonacera, a mortician and an acquaintance of Don Corleone. His daughter had been cruelly assaulted by two young men who faced minimal punishment for their actions. Don Vito was disappointed in Bonacera, who had distanced himself from the Don due to the Corleone family's criminal dealings. However, Don Corleone's wife served as the godmother to Bonacera's daughter, a relationship he exploited to secure new loyalty from the Undertaker. Don Vito agreed to have his men punish the young men responsible for the assault in return for potential future services if required. Meanwhile, Don Corleone's youngest son, Michael, a decorated Marine hero returning from World War II, arrived at the wedding. He confided in his girlfriend, Kay Adams, about his family's criminal life, reassuring her that he was different from his family and had no intentions of joining them. This wedding scene served as a crucial exposition, introducing Kay to the main characters. At the celebration, Don Corleone received congratulatory salutations from Luca Brasi, his terrifying enforcer in the criminal underworld. He also fulfilled a request from Nazarene, the baker who had crafted Connie's wedding cake. Nazarene wished for his daughter's lover, Enzo, to become an American citizen after the wedding. Tom Hagen was dispatched to Los Angeles to meet with Waltz, who adamantly refused to cast Fontaine. However, he woke up one morning to a gruesome discovery: an equine head worth $600,000 in his bed. A message from Don Corleone. Upon Hagen's return, the family met with Virgil the Turk Sollozzo, backed by the rival Tattaglia family. He sought financial support, political protection, and legal assistance for importing and distributing heroin. Despite the enormous profits at stake, Don Corleone refused Sollozzo's proposition, fearing the consequences it might have on his political alliances. These judges and politicians had been his friends over several decades, and entering the narcotics trade would jeopardize those relationships. Sonny, who initially supported the idea of entering the narcotics trade, challenged the family during the meeting. He questioned Sollozzo's guarantees from the Tattaglia family. However, soon after the meeting, a failed assassination attempt targeted Don Corleone, leaving his survival uncertain. Frito had been assigned to drive and protect his father in the absence of the usual bodyguard, Paulie Gatto. Unfortunately, Frito proved ineffective. Unable to defend his father, and the news reached Sonny, who ordered Clemenza to find Paulie and bring him to the Don's house. During this time, Sollozzo kidnapped Tom Hagen and attempted to persuade Sonny to accept the deal that Don Corleone had previously rejected. As Tom was released, news arrived that the Don had survived the assassination attempt. He angrily demanded that Sonny accept his offer, but Sonny issued an ultimatum to the Tattaglias: turn over Sollozzo or face a brutal gang war. However, the Tattaglias decided to forego a gang war and instead sent a brutal message in the form of two dead fish wrapped in Luca Brasi's bulletproof vest, signifying that he slept with the fishes. Meanwhile, Michael, viewed as a civilian uninvolved in the mob business, visited his father at a private hospital. Shockingly, no one was guarding the Don, and when Michael inquired about it, he was told that the men had been asked to leave by the police just minutes before his arrival. Michael suspected that his father was being set up for another assassination attempt and called Sonny for assistance. He moved his father to another room and, with the help of Enzo the baker, bluffed away Sollozzo's men. Police cars arrived at the scene, led by the corrupt Captain McCluskey, who violently assaulted Michael for insinuating that Sollozzo had paid him to set up his father. Tom Hagen arrived with private detective's license to carry guns to protect Don Corleone and took the injured Michael home. In response to the attempt on his father's life, Sonny ordered the assassination of Bruno Tattaglia, the eldest son and underboss of Don Philip Tattaglia. As Sollozzo requested a meeting with the Corleones, Captain McCluskey would attend as Sollozzo's bodyguard. Michael, however, volunteered to eliminate both men during the meeting. In the midst of a rapidly escalating mob war and the tragic loss of Sonny Corleone, the remaining senior family members of the Corleones found themselves facing a crucial turning point. The brutal assassination of Don Vito Corleone's enemies, Sollozzo and McCluskey, orchestrated by his son Michael, was a bold and audacious move that needed careful consideration. During Michael's exile in Sicily, Don Vito Corleone was released from the hospital and was deeply distressed to discover that his own son, Michael, had committed the killings. Meanwhile, the marriage between Connie and Carlo Rizzi was crumbling. Their public arguments centered around Carlo's suspected infidelity and his possessive behavior towards Connie. However, Italian tradition dictated that not even a high-ranking mafia don like Connie's father could intervene in a married couple's personal disputes, whether they involved infidelity, finances, or domestic abuse. One day, Sonny noticed a bruise on Connie's face and, upon inquiry, learned that Carlo had struck her after she questioned him about an affair. Sonny confronted Carlo, severely beating him in the middle of a crowded street for his mistreatment of the pregnant Connie and warning him never to abuse her again. Carlo orchestrated an elaborate ruse by having one of his mistresses call the Corleone household. Knowing that Connie would answer the phone, the woman told Connie to relay a message to Carlo, instructing him not to meet her that night. As a result, a furious altercation erupted between Carlo and a distraught and pregnant Connie, ultimately leading to Carlo brutally beating her. This calculated act was intended to draw Sonny out of the Corleone compound, leaving him vulnerable and unprotected. When Connie phoned the Corleone compound to inform Sonny of Carlo's assault, an enraged Sonny drove off alone, unescorted, and determined to confront Carlo. On his way to Connie and Carlo's house, Sonny fell into an ambush at a toll booth on the Long Island Causeway, where he was violently shot to death by several carloads of hitmen wielding baseball bats and submachine guns. Tom Hagen was tasked with conveying the devastating news of Sonny's death to Don Vito Corleone. In response to this tragedy, Don Corleone decided to call in the favor from Amerigo Bonacera to personally handle the embalming of Sonny's body. As the Corleone family reeled from the loss of Sonny and the ongoing mob war, Don Vito Corleone recognized the urgent need for a ceasefire. Not only was the conflict rapidly depleting their resources and jeopardizing their survival, but ending the war was essential to ensure Michael's safe return home. Reversing his prior stance, Don Corleone made the difficult decision to provide political protection to Don Tatatria's drug trade with the condition that it would be controlled and not sold to children. During a meeting with the heads of the 5 families, Don Corleone astutely deduced that Don Barzini, not Don Tattaglia, was the mastermind behind the mob war's inception and Sonny's tragic death. 2 years later, Clemenza and Salvatore Tessio voiced their grievances, feeling that they were being pushed around by the Barzini family. They sought permission to retaliate, but Michael denied their request as he had plans to relocate the family operations to Nevada. Afterward, Clemenza and Tessio would be allowed to establish their own families in the New York area. As the Corleone family prepared for their move to Nevada, Michael made a surprise visit to Las Vegas. He met with Mo Green, a wealthy and shrewd casino boss who sought to expand his business. Michael boldly offered to buy Green out, but the latter, underestimating the Corleones' power, rebuffed the proposal, believing he could secure a better deal with Don Barzini. Upon leaving the meeting, Fredo, who had been sent to Las Vegas to learn about the casino business, sided with Mo Green. Michael, however, warned Fredo never to take sides against the family. Michael returns home and engages in conversation with Don Vito. Don Vito tells Michael about his life experience. Michael listens very carefully to Don Vito's words. Don Vito is very disturbed by the death of his family members. The pain of the family is hurting him from the inside. Michael is also saddened by his father's condition. Don Vito explains enough of Michael's words so that he does not have problems in his life. Michael starts to think about it. Some months later, Don Vito was died, and all the family attends his funeral. The story shifted again, taking a tragic turn as Michael confronted Carlo Rizzi regarding his involvement in Sonny's assassination. Carlo confessed his part in the setup, revealing that he had been approached by Don Barzini himself. In a surprising twist, Michael assured Carlo that he would not be killed, but would be excluded from all family business. He handed Carlo a plane ticket to exile in Las Vegas. However, when Carlo entered a car bound for the airport, he was assassinated by Clemenza, following Michael's orders. Meanwhile, an emotional Connie confronted Michael at the Corleone compound as movers prepared to relocate the family to Nevada. She accused Michael of murdering Carlo in retribution for his brutal treatment of her and his suspected involvement in Sonny's death. As movers carried away the family's furniture, Connie's emotional outburst led to her removal from the house. In a private moment, Kay questioned Michael about Connie's accusations, demanding the truth. Michael, steadfast in his commitment to the family and its code of silence, refused to divulge any details, reminding Kay never to inquire about his business or inquire about his activities. Kay, believing his words, was finally relieved. The film concluded with the arrival of Clemenza, Rocco, and Al Neri, who paid their respects to Michael as the new Godfather. Kay observed the solemn scene as Clemenza kissed Michael's hand and greeted him with the title of Don Corleone. This marked the end of the first part of the Godfather saga, setting the stage for further chapters in the Corleone family's tumultuous journey. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more videos.